Shucks is one of Friday Night Funkin's most popular songs, and because of that, before its release, there was a lot of hype around it. Due to this hype and the fact that Shucks took a very long time to come out, fans decided to take matters into their own hands, giving birth to a few thousand Shucks variations. These variations drastically differ from one another, and because of that, some are better than others. I took around 40 different Shucks lyrics variations and decided to rank them from worst to best. Now, to get that out of the way as soon as possible, there's only one song in this entire list I flat out don't like. Every other variation, to some degree, is listenable to me, if not just flat out a Shuckybanger. The way I determined my ranking was quite simple. If the lyrics were good, then they would place rather low. If not, or they were just meh, then they would place higher. Of course, there were other factors like how good the songs themselves were or how much of an impact it had on the community, but for the most part, I focused on how good each of the lyrics were. And before we begin, I probably should say this right off the bat. This entire list is subjective and is of my own opinions. I know the Shucks/Arita community likes to take my opinions at face value as if they're the general consensus, but no, this is entirely my opinion and is completely dictated by my own thoughts and feelings. This entire list was incredibly difficult to put together because of how good each of the different variations are. So if your favorite Shucks variation ranked towards the top, just know that it was one I really liked and it was a hard choice to put it there. And with that all being said, let's get it ranked.
Oh my...
Number 40, Shucks DX. This is the one and only song in this entire list I truly don't like. All the 39 other songs, to a certain degree, are very enjoyable. This one, on the other hand, simply is not to me. It's kind of a shame because this is probably one of the most popular Shucks variations, but quite frankly, I think the lyrics are atrocious, specifically the first line, essentially meaning metal to red. You know, that's probably not what it means, but whatever. It probably means like his soul is soaked in blood or some stupid shit like that, but you could have portrayed it a little bit better. In fact, one of the variations coming up does that, but way better. The rest of the lyrics are pretty meh overall. The song itself is fine, but the lyrics are kind of iffy, and not the greatest personally. Number 39, What a Shame. Truly, what a shame. Well, from this point on, every lyric variation I'm going to be talking about to a certain degree is enjoyable. What a Shame is probably the bottom of that barrel. The lyrics aren't terrible because they're actually pretty good, and they follow the My Mind lyrics, but each of the lyrics have a lesser impact due to there being so many. Throughout the entire 7-minute song, there are 3 different variations of lyrics throughout, and while it's a pretty unique concept, again, it lessens the impact of the actual lyrics. Again, a good song, but it would have placed lower if not for the other 2 lyrical sections. Number 38, Shucks Mellow Valley V3. While the lyrics themselves are really good, compared to the previous one, they pale in comparison. This is not entirely the fault of the creator, it's more the fact that the original lyrics were so good that they were pretty hard to beat, which is a trend for a few other variations coming up. However, I feel like with these lyrics specifically, they match the personality of the original Does Bad Things guy. That kind of lamentful feeling compared to the old lyrics where it feels like he's being rather selfish with the lines like... So, I guess there's that. Number 37, Shucks Mellow Valley 1 and 2. These are the lyrics I was talking about. While I do like the approach of Mellow Valley version 3, I feel like these lyrics in general are just better written. Mellow Valley 1 and 2 both have the same lyrics, it's just that version 2 is more mono compared to version 1. I also have to give this version of Shucks bonus points due to it following my favorite lyrics, the My Mind lyrics. The song itself is also really good, but obviously the best part are the lyrics. Number 36, Shucks Rewritten. I just love how upbeat these lyrics are. They're probably one of the most unique lyrics out of all the lyrics I'm going to be talking about today. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think these lyrics are good, but I don't think they really fit with Shucks. While it still does hit a few of the Shucks hallmarks, I feel like it's a little too out there and upbeat. I know I just complimented it for being upbeat, but there's a difference between being a good song and being a good Shucks variation. The actual song itself is pretty good, it's just that the lyrics are a little too out there for my taste. Not bad, great even. Number 35, Shucks Modified Lyrics. These lyrics are just flat out great, again following the My Mind trend of lyrics, except probably following closer than any other variation, simply switching the word my throughout to your. Out of any of the lyrics coming up, this is probably the most personal feeling, compared to the original where Does Bad Things guy is ranting about his experiences. and how it will haunt Marvin. Now it's him talking about Marvin's experience and how he can twist those into whatever he wants for his convenience, with lines like "your life, your name, a mask of mine to impersonate." Though, with those specific lyrics, it really makes it feel like he's talking about Brooklyn Guy specifically. In fact, the entire lyrics feel like that, with the first line being "your mind, your face, a product which I can change its state." Now that absolutely might be the case, but I have no idea because I don't even know who made this version of the song. Either way, it's still a really good variation. Also, ignore the fact that I made an animation about this. Number 34, Shucks Definitive Edition. Now, originally this song was going to be placed at number 39, as I feel like the lyrics themselves are just kind of average. They are the most average Shucks lyrics of all time, and that's not necessarily an insult, it's just that they're very generic. However, the rest of the song is absolutely a banger, especially the My Heart part, like, goddamn, bro. While the name itself checks out, for the rest of the song, I think the lyrics are pretty generic, if it wasn't obvious enough, but the song itself is fantastic, being a mixture of practically all the variations of Shucks, and that's fucking awesome. Number 33, Untold Secrets version 3, the first of many different variations to use the bleed lyrics. However, I find this one specifically kind of meh. It doesn't do too much with the actual lyrics itself. Sure, there's a few effects here and there, but overall it's just the original lyrics, just sung by a different actor. It does help with the fact that the original lyrics are really good, obviously. They're the first thing you think about when you think of Shucks, but still. Now you may be wondering why specifically I chose version 3, and that's for a very good reason. Some variations of different Shucks lyrics typically feature the same exact lyrics, just with slightly different songs, and in those cases I'll be covering the most recent version instead of all of them. So if there's multiple versions of a variation, but they have the same lyrics throughout, I'll talk about them as one. This would have placed higher if it wasn't for the fact that the song itself is really good, so bonus points there. Number 32, You Wimp. You Wimp is Shucks, but with a different character, the first of many to come. Instead of being Does Bad Things Guy, it's Brooklyn Guy's other brother, Jonathan. I would explain a little bit about the character, but I have no idea who this is, to be honest, because I haven't watched SML in like 10 years, but anyways. The lyrics are funny as fuck. I'll give it bonus points for that. I should probably mention the fact that this was created by Mason's Plaza, someone who's very prevalent in this fucking community, who has many covers of Shucks and could probably fill at least half this list with his covers. But out of all of them, I feel like this one doesn't really have the Shucks oomph to it. Still good, but unlike the other Shucks I've talked about thus far, it lacks something. Number 31, More Shucks. It's Shucks, but it's sung by Morshu, so it's more Shucks. Except, not really. It surprisingly has different lyrics. Originally, I thought it was just Shucks, but sung by Morshu, but no, it has completely original lyrics that are surprisingly good. Especially because it's actually sentence mixed, just like the old YouTube poops, which is slowly becoming more and more of his lost art, which is depressing as fuck. But hey, we have more Shucks to continue that legacy, and what a fucking legacy to have. I would have placed this a lot lower because it's funny and it's a meme, but also it's made by the same person who made the Shucks Brain Rot covers, and those upset me greatly. Number 30, Shucks Disobey. I love these lyrics. If you couldn't tell, and you will tell much later on, I love lyrics that sound very somber and add an element of remorse and regret to Does Bad Things Guy. While I have my rightful qualms with the writing of SML, specifically on how they can't write for shit, I think the Shucks community has done a fantastic job at giving Does Bad Things Guy a personality that isn't an inconsistent mess for the sake of avoiding spoilers. If you want any further elaboration on that, get me to 100k, capiche? The lyrics are well-written. Anyway, the lyrics are well written and diverge from the original Bleed lyrics in an interesting way, more so than most. Now, just like a bunch of other Shucks variations, Disobey also has multiple versions. However, specifically for this entry, I'm lumping them all together as one, because they're all fairly equal. However, they're also pretty inconsistent from one another, with specific parts of certain versions being worse than others, like how in version 1 and version 2, the actual main part of the lyrics, aka the ending, sounds pretty fucking awful, but the build-up is actually really good. On top of that, the mixing is kind of doo-doo. Overall, I think version 3 is obviously the best one, as it's the most recent one, and probably has the best lyrics. Coming up, these next 10 rankings were pretty difficult, all things considered. So many of these different variations are really good, but in the end, some had to be put over others, and that's just how it is. Number 29, Shucks Sawdust. Ah yes, one of the most influential versions of Shucks. Sawdust is a certified hood classic, a Shucky classic, if you will, and for a very good reason. Being one of the earliest Shucks variations, it laid the groundwork for many. In fact, I'm pretty sure these lyrics are older than the Bleed lyrics, which is fucking crazy. I might might be wrong, but if not, that's wild to me. Back to the lyrics. I love how crusty they sound. It's a trope that really resonates with me. On top of that, it's another somber one as well. I also have to give credit for the fact that this song laid the path for many other variations, including a heavy inspiration to a variation we're going to be talking about pretty soon. Sawdust is just a great track all around, and if it was actually official lyrics for Shucks, I don't think many would complain. So if I've been praising it so much, why is it so high? Oh, that's easy. It's because compared to the others, it's rather basic. While I love Sawdust, because it was one of the first, it didn't really innovate much. While sure, it laid the groundwork for many to come, that also means the variations that came after improved upon it tenfold, especially one coming up. Also, it's kind of weird hearing no build-up at all. It just suddenly ends with Aw Shucks. Still, a really great song, but there are many better. Number 28, Shucks scrapped lyrics. Another early version of Shucks. This isn't too special, it just has really good lyrics, and has been stuck in my head ever since I first heard them. Given the name, I'm pretty sure this was at one point going to be the official version of the Shucks lyrics, but as the title implies, it was scrapped for whatever reason. The voice actor who sings this version of the song just gives this really guttural feeling throughout the song. Overall, I really like this version of the lyrics, however to me personally, the original ones will probably never be beaten. Still, a really good variation. Number 27, Retold version 1 and 2. So what happens if you take Sawdust and you actually give it a build-up? Well, you get Retold version 1 and 2. I think these lyrics are far better than Sawdust's. While I like Sawdust's lyrics, Retold 1 and 2 just adds what was missing to the original. And even eventually Retold would take Sawdust's melody and make it its own, improving upon it in every version afterwards. This was also a pretty early variation, so as such, it's one of the most popular and for very good reason. It's pretty faithful to the original Secret Door episode from SNL, while putting its own twist on Shucks. Also, this was made by the same person who did Disobey, which is kind of funny, because both the songs sound pretty similar to one another, but different from each other just enough. To say not all secrets are safe anyway. Number 26, Shucks V3. We finally arrive at the origin of the Bleed lyrics, and I've gotta say, hearing version 1's build up right before the Bleed lyrics is trippy as fuck. Now, a little bit of a spoiler, V4 is not in this ranking at all for one very good reason. It's complete fucking dog shit. I don't mean to hate, but compared to every other version of Shucks, it is absolute shite. I know a lot of people are going to get upset at me for this, but also pretty sure that a lot of people don't like this version either, so whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. Anyway, there's something kind of nostalgic about Shucks version 3. While it doesn't have the best song overall, there's something about it that's still very enjoyable. Like a warm hug. It's familiar, especially the lyrics. Again, maybe because this was the first time the Bleed lyrics were introduced, but there's something very enticing about this specific version of the lyrics. A very good version overall. Number 25, Our Rats. It's Shucks V5, but what if it was sung by Boyfriend and a giant murderous rat? This is probably one of the most unique variations of version 5. A lot of the other ones simply just change the vocals and nothing else, hence why a big chunk of them won't be on this list. But this version specifically changes not only the lyrics, but it also has a custom animation, which is very impressive. On top of that, the lyrics and animations are really good for some reason. Also, the way the actress sings All Rats at the end is heavenly. While this might just be version 5 of Shucks, the effort put into the animation and custom lyrics definitely earned it a pretty good spot at 25. Also, it was this variation that got me hooked on version 5 of Shucks, so there's that. Number 24, All Rats again. Now, I think before I start talking about this one specifically, I should probably mention the fact that I'm friends with the person who made this variation, and while sure there might be a few biases, I still don't think that takes away from the fact that these lyrics are actually pretty good. In my opinion, the lyrics are a bomb dog. Specifically, the way this song just tickles my brain in the right way. While I have no idea what the story is behind these lyrics, still, it doesn't take away from the fact that they're still really cool. Number 23, Locked Away Tech Mix. Shucks Locked Away is a weird one. It's different from the original, yet so similar at the same time. I don't know how to put my finger on it. However, for this specific entry, we're talking about Shucks Locked Away Tech Mix. Another somber one. There's something about these lyrics that kinda hit in the right way. It also has another Shucks trope that I like, that being a duet between Does Bad Things Guy and Marvin. I think it's fun. For this specific version, aka the Tech Mix, I like how the vocals have this drone to them. It makes it for a really appeasing effect. Now, I would have put this variation probably much lower if it was for the fact that I've probably heard this song at least 100 times. For what reason? Nothing.
Again, we're going to ignore the fact that I made an animation for this one.
It's good, but it can be improved upon. Speaking of, number 22, Locked Away. The original version of Locked Away is so much better than Text Mix. Trying to do Text Mix. The original version of Locked Away is so much better than the Tech Mix. Well, I do like that version. Again, it's been kind of ruined because of how many times I had to listen to it. And there's just something about the new lyrics that recently came out that really add this edge over the Tech Mix. While I still think the original version of these lyrics are the best, these new ones are fire as fuck, bro. They're lit. Number 21, Shucks Ramified. Now we're going to be taking a look at a more unique variation of Shucks. Shucks Ramified was a variation that I didn't really consider for a very long time. Sure, when it first came out I listened to it, but beyond that point I didn't really pay mind to it. That's until I needed a different variation for this video, and when I came across it again, yeah, these lyrics go hard, bro. It kind of goes for the same style as What a Shame, but a lot less overbearing. Originally, I had planned this to be higher up, somewhere in the 30s, but as I listened to it more and more, the lyrics just stood out to me, especially the second half. This part is just great. Overall, the lyrics are so good. Now, just like What a Shame, this variation also has multiple sets of lyrics. However, unlike with What a Shame, all the sets are actually, you know, good. If it wasn't obvious enough, the more unique the variation is, the lower it's going to be on the ranking. And Shucks Ramified is definitely one of the most unique I've seen. Almost halfway now, we're getting closer to the end, and as we progress more and more, it increasingly gets difficult to rank these. So from this point onwards, I'm going to be really picky with these entries. Number 20, Shucks Modified Lyrics, T.E.A.D's Take. I mean, come on, what is there to say about these lyrics? They're just fucking fantastic! Though later iterations of this variation do improve upon them quite a bit. For the most part, they're just great. Although, I do have to take a few points away for the singing being quite bad. Obviously, the person who sings this can't sing for shit. That and the timing being a bit off, which has this weird nauseous effect. But the lyrics alone bumped this to number 20 with absolutely no biases whatsoever. Number 19, Ah Bums. Made by the same person who made You Wimp. However, Ah Bums is a far better song. Now, just like with You Wimp, Ah Bums also has multiple versions. And just like that one, I'm going to pick the best one, which in my opinion is Retold version 2. Now, I like this variant a lot more than You Wimp. While I don't like SML, in fact, I think it's quite dog shit, there's still some characters from there I do like, Simmons being one of them. Also, the idea of this variant is quite unique. I think if there was a B-side version of Shucks, Ah Bums would fit quite well. So what about the lyrics themselves? They're good. Can you tell I'm running out of ways to say, oh, these lyrics are good? Because I definitely can. Yeah, these are Shucks lyrics, but now it's with Simmons, and he's British, so yeah, cool. They sound good. The voice actor did a good job with not only singing, but actually sounding like the character themselves, so bonus points, sure. Number 18, Facade Definitive Edition. While I think the rest of the song is kind of okay, there's something about the lyrics that really hit. Once again, following the My Mind lyrics, obviously the best one to me personally. One of the most important aspects of a variation is the build up to the lyrics, and Facade Definitive Edition definitely has one of the better ones. Another aspect that I really like about certain variations that I already mentioned many times before in the video is the more melancholy take. However, I do also like the other side of that coin, which is intensity. And these lyrics have plenty of that, hence why it's at number 18. Number 17, Retold version 4. Right off the bat, I should mention the fact that Retold version 4 was probably the most hyped variation for me personally. This could have been so much better than it was, and it kind of fumbled at the end. And I mean that quite literally. The beginning lyrics were absolutely the best out of any Retold version, but the ball gets dropped when we return to the bleed lyrics. This is definitely so disappointing considering how good version 3's lyrics were. Again, it's really sad because version 4's beginning lyrics are so good and are the most unique out of any of them compared to the other variations that kind of recycle the same lyrics from Sawdust, only with a slight spin. Again, a really good variation, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't slightly disappointed by the choice of the return to the bleed lyrics. I got so upset after the decision, I decided to make my own version combining both version 4 and 3, and that alone fixed my problem. Though, that's not official, so it's still staying at the number 17 spot. Number 16, Shucks Retake. Well, sure, I do know the fact that these lyrics are just a bunch of other variations smashed into one. The way they combine into this conglomerate of Shucks is really appealing for some reason. Taking some of the best lyrics throughout the Shucks community and making them into this one giant mix of Shuckybanger, and really, what's the harm if it transforms these lyrics into something new? Number 15, Shucks Deceived. Now, here it is, the absolute best lyrics to ever exist, no biases whatsoever. These lyrics slap harder than the Fat Man nuke that turned Nagasaki into the brightest place on Earth for a few seconds. I mean, the pure musical genius behind these lyrics cannot be matched, brother. I mean, come on, dog. These are just Shucks' T.E.A.D takes lyrics, but improved upon tenfold. These lyrics are the bomb.com, yo. The perfect blending of the My Mind lyrics and the Bleed lyrics are enough to make Eminem sweat, bro. These lyrics made Freddie Mercury a fan of me. Walter White shook my hand because of these lyrics, bro. And the only reason why they're not number one is because I can't sing. So at this point, they're literally just lyrics on a document somewhere. And two, because I like nerfing myself to give the competition a chance. But if they were in an audio format, nah, bro, it's game over. Maybe the best lyric ever created in the history of mankind. Again, no biases whatsoever. Number 14, Shucks' Big Picture Mix. The lyrics slap hard, especially the ending. Enough said. Number 13, Picture Perfect / Behind Closed Doors. Yes, I know. Now, you may be wondering why these two are lumped together, and that's because they're both technically not Shucks variations, instead being secret door songs instead of Shucks, which is dumb, because both songs both have multiple motifs present in Shucks, but whatever. However, again, I still wanted to implement them because they're still quite good. Starting with Picture Perfect, this is the absolute best song for an SML mod, besides, well, Shucks, because obviously. Picture Perfect is such a perfect song for the secret door. It has that feeling of somberness, like Does Bad Things guy doesn't want to do this, but he has to. This is most reflected in the lyrics themselves. Within the lyrics, there's this aura of regretful malice, especially towards the end where it sounds as if he comes to terms with this is something that he has to do. Also, that build up to the actual lyrics themselves is so fucking good. And on the other side of the coin, we have Behind Closed Doors. If Picture Perfect was the reflection of Does Bad Things guy's regret, Behind Closed Doors is the sadisticness of the character. This is, of course, reflected most in the lyrics, having this almost mocking tone to them. However, the ending lyrics is what really pushes Behind Closed Doors into the number 13 spot. Again, I love melancholy lyrics, and Behind Closed Doors is, oh my god. This song is just something to behold, specifically this part. 'Cause you took my love, my life away. It's perfection, and I think no one would be upset at the spot that these two great songs are at. Number 12, Shucks' Mistrustful. I don't think I need to explain much about this one. Truly one of the best variants to come out of the Shucks community. The build up to the lyrics are fucking amazing. This variation out of any carries that somber and regretful feeling, especially towards the end. I generally don't know what more I can say about the lyrics themselves. These lyrics are generally beyond words, and I think most would be satisfied with it at the number 12 spot. Number 11, Sawdust Definitive. This is a surprise entry that I didn't expect to be so low, as it was added last second, but holy shit, it's so good. Again, as I've mentioned multiple times, I like melancholy lyrics, and these lyrics have such an emotional appeal that add to Does Bad Things guy's character, and my god are these lyrics so fucking good. These lyrics, without a doubt, have been the ones that I've listened to the most throughout the duration of making this video. I've been listening to these lyrics non-stop, while I'm working on projects, while I'm on my walk, while I'm just playing games. There's just something beautiful about them. I know it's weird, but if you've listened to them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are, without a doubt, one of the most absolute, most unique variation lyrics that I've heard. And while I would have placed them lower down on the list, the next few coming up are just too good to be replaced. But I still think they're really good lyrics. Coming up to the last 10, this is probably the hardest selection to make, and that's because the next 10 are the absolute best of the best. Starting with number 10, Shucks V5. Need I say more? Of course this was going to be in the top 10 out of any variation. I think this one deserves the spot in the top 10 due to how much work was put into it, and all that hard work did not go to waste, as this is easily one of the best Shucks to ever grace the community. The entirety of the song is near perfection, and while sure I'm tired of hearing the bleed lyrics, there's something about the way this is sung here specifically that's just so hype. The entire team behind operating this masterpiece did a fucking phenomenal job, and I think Shucks V5 is one of the best and most impressive things to come out of the entire Friday Night Funkin' community. From the music, to the cutscene, to the entire song itself. This is nearly the best official version of Shucks to see the light of day, and if Val and the team is seeing this, I'm so sorry for my shitty opinion on V5 in the Shucks video. I'm truly sorry. That shit was embarrassing. Number 9, Shucks Sling Mix. Yes, I know this is gonna probably be the most controversial pick yet, which I guess I should start off by saying I don't condone anything Sling has done, but I do have to give credit to the absolute amazing vocal performance. Another controversial take, but I think these are the best the Bleed lyrics have ever been sung. It's just this visceral way that these lyrics were made that really amplify the intensity of the song and lyrics. And I think the slower and more visceral way the lyrics are sung just fit better. Again, I know this is going to be controversial, but talent is talent, is it not? Unless otherwise. Number 8, Shucks with Lyrics. I think this is another one that was pretty obvious. Shucks with Lyrics is probably one of the most famous things to come out of this community, and for good reason, being a lyrical cover of Shucks v3. Some of the lyrics in this is fucking fantastic. While the entire song is good, there's certain points that make shivers go up my spine, especially the Can You Feel My Heart section. While I think v3 is just okay overall, this is definitely the best way to listen to the song, definitely worth the number 8 spot, though it could be better. Number 7, Shucks with Lyrics 2. Being a lyrical cover of Shucks v5, this was obviously going to be better than Shucks v3. While I think Shucks with Lyrics 1 overall has better lyrics, there are certain points of Shucks with Lyrics 2 that just blow v3 out of the water by a shit ton. The hype around this one also helps a lot. I distinctly remember watching the first teaser of this one before the Shucks video even came out, and my god, I was excited. There's also a bit of nostalgia about the first few teasers because around that time was the point where I really got into Shucks, and that's why I decided to make the Shucks video. Back to the song itself, this is just peak lyrical performance. There's this one specific part of the song that blows every other Shucks variation thus far out of the water, and it's the part after Rose gets killed, leading up to the lyrics. My god, this part is so fucking good, dude. Every time I hear it, I ascend to heaven. It's that good. And there's absolutely no way another variation with lyrics can top this. Number 6, Picture Perfect with lyrics. This is it. This is the best Shucks variation with lyrics, and it's not even a competition. While both Shucks with Lyrics 1 and 2 had spots that were kind of iffy, Picture Perfect with Lyrics doesn't have a single miss. This is where I doubt the Shucks with Lyrics that I've listened to the most, and it's not even close. If I had to estimate, it's a 10-to-1 comparison. These lyrics are heavenly, and every video I've uploaded so far on this channel, I've been listening to this while working on them. Sure, sometimes I need a break from this one, but I always go back. I always come back. William Afton. It's just too good, and I think there's only one song that with lyrics could beat that, and that's Shucks v1 with lyrics, but god knows that's not ever gonna happen anytime soon. So I guess Picture Perfect with Lyrics is just going to have to sit comfortably in the number 6 spot. So I've actually lied a little bit to you. You might expect that these last 5 were pretty hard to choose, but no, these have been my top 5 for quite some time. The next 5 variations coming up, in my opinion, are the top 5 of all time, and probably won't be beaten for a while. I feel like some of these might be controversial, while some of them are like, yeah, of course that would be it, but we'll see. Starting with number 5, Rike Mix. This variation is very underrated for whatever reason, because it's one of the best. Sure, it starts out with the normal Shucks build up, and then it hits you like, oh shit, this isn't the My Mind lyrics, this is something different, yo. And I know this might sound weird for some people, but I think these lyrics out of any other variation fits the original Does Bad Things guy character in a weird metaphorical way. Sure, the song itself is a remake of Shucks v1, but the lyrics are also so unique in a weird way. Well, sure, yes, it still follows the My Mind lyrics, they transform into a way that differentiates them from the Mind lyrics in such an interesting way. Ever since I first heard this variation, this has been one of my favorites, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon. So I think the number 5 spot is the perfect place for this one. Number 4, Shucks v1. Here it is. The one that started it all, Shucks v1. Now, out of the next few coming up, this is definitely the most controversial one, probably out of any variation. Shucks v1 is typically debated to be one of the best or one of the worst variations of Shucks, and without a doubt, in my opinion, it's definitely one of the best. Not only that, but if this one didn't exist, the entire Shucks community wouldn't have existed either. While this variation is very important, it's also a really good song as well, even separated from Friday Night Funkin. Compared to the other official versions, which have their hard patches, there's not a moment throughout the entire 4-minute song that's even slightly mediocre, and the lyrics themselves are, oh my god, fantastic. The intensity of the vocal performance and the weight behind them leading up to the build-up, and then having that hit of the lyrics, they have such a force behind them that no other variation can match. While sure, they're not the best lyrics, they definitely have the biggest weight behind them, and I'm comfortable with Shucks V1 being in the number 4 spot. Here we are, the last 3, the best of the best. Starting with number 3, Retold version 3. I often get the feeling that when I'm making something that I'll never be able to live up to that moment again, be able to make something better than that. And if I was Prince Vince, Shucks V3 would be that. Vince has completely outdone himself, and while I did like Retold 1, 2, and 4, V3 improves upon it in every way. And as I already mentioned in the version 4 section, reverting back to the bleed lyrics definitely hurt it a lot, because the lyrics in V3 are some of the best in Friday Night Funkin' history. The build-up lyrics are fine enough, being similar to the ones in 1 and 2, but the actual lyrics themselves just hit differently, like a smack in the goddamn face. This specific variation is what really got me into Shucks. Just that explosive hit of the lyrics really shaped my opinion of this entire community, and I have zero qualms with Retold version 3 being in, well, the number 3 spot. Coming down to the last 2, we have the 2 most unique Shucks variations that ever existed. Number 2, Shucks Requiem. Without a doubt, the absolute most underrated Shucks variation, having only around 30,000 views, which is criminal because the Shucks video has 70k, and that's fucking wild. This variation definitely deserves more than that piece of shit Shucks video. In my opinion, this is the best Shucks song in general. The song itself never misses, the lyrics are perfect, and it nails that gothic-like style with this airy drone throughout. It can really be felt through the build-up to the lyrics, and during them as well. Speaking of the lyrics, they are some of the most unique compared to any other variation, and they could be their own separate thing entirely, completely separated from Shucks. I say this with no exaggeration, I think this is the best full version of a Shucks variation ever. So why is it at number 2? Well, because the next one coming up isn't a full song, however the lyrics are so good that in my opinion, they'll never be topped. So before I move on, I think Shucks Requiem definitely deserves the number 2 spot. But what could be number 1?
So look, it's in here, look, see, look, there's bodies everywhere, like there's blood, there's bodies, I don't know what's going on. Do you know what's going on?
Hellish gore from behind closed doors, secrets revealed, a broken deal.
Number 1, Doorway to Hell. This is it. This is, without a doubt, the absolute best Shucks variation, and by a long shot too. This has been my favorite variation since I heard it. I love the old feeling it has, like this old gothic piano that isn't quite an organ but is close. I love the sense of desperateness in Marvin's voice, the feeling of betrayal in Does Bad Things Guy's voice, and the entire old-timey feel of it all. It all blends together to make the perfect Shucks variation. This variation of Shucks fits more with the original Secret Door than Shucks does itself. More than Behind Closed Doors, more than Picture Perfect. It itself is the perfect Secret Door song. Another detail that really adds to the lyrics is the fact that it reuses some of the My Mind lyrics, which in my opinion, which I've said a lot, is the best variation of the official lyrics. So obviously bonus points there. I truly don't think there'll ever be another variation of Shucks that will even come close to overtake Doorway to Hell. And I am definitely 100% confident in my placing of Doorway to Hell in the number 1 spot. And with that all being said, the video comes to an end. While I know a lot of my selections might be controversial to some people, I'm confident with my rankings. While it might be different compared to a bunch of other people's rankings, I think I did a pretty good job, and if you have your own rankings, let me know down in the comments below. And with that, the second Shucks video is now concluded. I feel like I should end this off by giving my thoughts. Feel free to leave, but I would appreciate it if you stuck around a little bit longer. I have Shucks to thank for a lot of things, most importantly the massive growth on my channel. I never expected the original Shucks video to get as big as it did, but I'm kind of glad that it did, as it gave me the opportunity to interact with some of the biggest figures in the community. As much as I dog on that video, I am thankful for its existence and what it's given me, though I still have a problem with the fact that, unlike a lot of my other videos, there was barely any thought put into it. It was made on a whim and completed within a day and a half, mostly because I didn't expect it to get as big as it did. But again, I am grateful for it, and to anyone who stuck around after that video, I greatly appreciate it. And with that, it's about time we end this video. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Also, again, Shucks video remake at 100k subs.